How's it going? Welcome back to Uncommontary, a video series where I talk about what I want to talk about, and you can't stop me. And don't even try. So what I wanted to talk about today is the MCU. The Eternals got a rotten score. It's like the first Marvel Cinematic Universe movie that I've seen that has a rotten score, and it's freaking people out. Chloe Zhao is a fantastic director, but nothing about the Eternals drew me to it. And so I decided to finally watch it and figure out what I thought of it for myself. And you know what? I actually liked it. It's not amazing, but it's definitely not deserving of a 47 on Rotten Tomatoes. And so that got me thinking, a lot of people put a lot of value into what Rotten Tomatoes says. So today, I wanted to make what is essentially a tier list. Nick, put up the tier list right here. It's not the same tier list as what most people would make tier lists, the A, B, C. No, Nick made his own fancy tier list. And there's gonna be in 3 columns: fresh, tomato, and rotten. I think a lot of MCU movies fall under tomato, and very few are actually fresh, and not that many are rotten either. So let's pretend Rotten Tomatoes matters. Let's rate these movies from the first movie Iron Man to the last movie Eternals. I hope you're ready because all these opinions are objective. But before we begin, let's talk about today's sponsor, The Ridge. Tired of having a crappy wallet and no significant other? Well, I can help you with the first one. Check out the Ridge Wallet. Ridge. The Ridge Wallet is light, sleek, and industrial. It doesn't fold or bulge in your pockets. It's super slim. Just how I like it. Despite its compact design though, the Ridge Wallet can hold up to 12 cards, including cash. It's made with RFID blocking technology that protects you from digital pickpocketers, and there's a bunch of different styles to choose from. Since being sponsored by them for the first time, I use Ridge Wallets, and I love them. In fact, the Ridge team is so confident that you'll love the wallet that you can try it out for a girthy 45 days. And if you don't like it, you can return it. This bad girl has over 30,000 5-star reviews, and the Ridge offers more products like backpacks and such. So make sure to go to ridge.com/browntable and use code browntable to get 10% off today with free worldwide shipping and returns. It's ridge.com/browntable and use the code browntable. Thanks so much, Ridge, for sponsoring today's video. First movie's Iron Man, released in 2008, the first ever MCU film. It is a very, very fresh movie. Wow, fresh from the beginning? You MCU cuck? Do you tug on Kevin Feige's ball sacks? I meant to say balls, but then I said ball sacks. And it sounds like Kevin Feige has multiple ball sacks. 2 big balls under... I'm gonna stop talking about the score by Ramin Djawadi is fantastic, Robert Downey Jr. is fantastic, Jon Favreau's direction is fantastic, everyone's fantastic in the movie, Terrence Howard is there, and the CG is fantastic as well. Iron Man, fresh, put it on the board, baby. The Incredible Hulk, a lot of times I see people and they praise the movie like, this movie's so underrated. It's not, and people always showcase like the action sequences, and it's like, I don't care about the action. It can be dumb fun, but there's so much that's bad. Bruce and Betty have no chemistry. Yeah, to me, it's a rotten movie. Should have a rotten rating. Next, Iron Man 2 is Justin Hammer, but it also has Elon Musk. Truth be told, I think Iron Man 2 is a major step back from Iron Man 1 because I feel like Tony Stark's character arc kind of went forward in Iron Man and then it just traced back a bunch of steps. And the reasoning for the movie is because he's dying, but I don't think they focused enough on the fact that he's drinking. I think the movie needed a lot of moments that were a lot more quiet and introspective, and I don't think it does enough. So to me, it's a tomato. And speaking of tomatoes, Thor is another tomato. If the movie was just Loki, it would be the freshest movie of all time. But Chris Hemsworth is there, and he does a great job, but him and Natalie Portman, their whole story is just kind of not that great. It is a tomato. It's a very red one, though. It's pretty juicy. Captain America: The First Avengers next, and this is gonna make a lot of people tug on my balls. Actually, don't tug on my balls. That's reserved for only one person. I don't even have that one person. Nick, zoom in, put sad music. I don't have anyone to tug on my balls. I've DM'd Kevin Feige multiple times, but he won't tug on my balls. And I talked about his balls this video. That's the reason I spoke about Kevin Feige's balls. And he won't tug on mine? You think being a YouTuber makes you famous? It doesn't. Because Kevin Feige won't tug my goddamn ballsack. So Captain America the First Avenger, it's actually one of the best Marvel movies for the first half. The second half is awful. The second, Cap saves Bucky from the Red Skull and the Red Skull reveals himself. The movie instantly goes downhill. The main plot should have been Steve becoming Captain America, and the Tesseract is this whatever thing. But halfway through the movie it shifts, and now it's about the Tesseract. It's a tomato to me. And this is the moment, this is the moment where it gets a little edgy, folks. Because I don't like Joss Whedon, but the Avengers, I think the grading is garbage. I think it looks like Law & Order SVU, but everything after that, it's really good. The music by Alan Silvestri is iconic. It's fresh. And Joss Whedon, he can eat the dirtiest, shittiest ass. I think Iron Man 3 is fresh too. The movie is fun. It introduces the Mandarin, Iron Man's most popular bad guy, and it's actually an actor, and the real Mandarin is Killian. And it's a message on how we perceive terrorism. Killian is this white dude, and it's not what people perceive the real terrorist to be like at all. I think that twist is great, and I think what the movie says is great, and I really like it. I think it's fresh. I think it's fresher than a bowl of oatmeal. Is oatmeal fresh? Nick, is oatmeal fresh? Nick is the editor, by the way. I have an editor for this video. Say hi, Nick. How's it going?
Hello.
So we'll move on to one of the worst movies in the MCU, Thor: The Dark World. Everything Loki, cinema. Everything else is not very good. Again, Jane Foster and Thor's chemistry doesn't land. It's rotten. And then we get to Captain America the Winter Soldier. And Captain America the Winter Soldier is fresh as fuck. Because Captain America, he's a genuinely nice guy with values that aren't really easily changed. And I love how his values are challenged and how the past comes back to him. I think Bucky's death in Captain America the First Avenger was ass. But what they were able to do with his death and have him become the Winter Soldier, what they were able to do with him, I think is fantastic. It's all around fantastic. I love it so much. I think Guardians of the Galaxy is one of the best MCU movies because it doesn't really tie itself down too much to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. If you watch it, it can stand as its own thing. It's fresh. Like, imagine if I said tomato. I'm happy that YouTube is disabling the dislikes because the video would be disliked to oblivion if I said Guardians of the Galaxy was anything but fresh. But then we get to, what's next? Oh yeah, Avengers Age of Ultron. The movie could have been great, but the thing is that they waste too much time setting up other movies, and Ultron is just not intimidating. He's more intimidating in What If. It's a good time, and it has things to say, but there should have been more scenes like that. Because the movie doesn't really have much more to offer past that, in my opinion. And also they killed off Quicksilver, the fastest guy, you know, the guy that's faster than a speeding bullet. Yeah, they killed him with bullets. So, Joss Whedon, kiss my ass. Ant-Man should have been a movie directed by Edgar Wright, but instead, we got directed by Peyton Reed. And that has forever pissed me off. Edgar Wright is one of the greatest directors alive. And the person they chose is Peyton Reed. And look, Peyton Reed's like the Mandalorian episode is really good. And I was like, hey, maybe Peyton Reed can direct shit. His style is non-existent. And he didn't really do anything with Ant-Man. And the best parts of Ant-Man are influenced by Edgar Wright. And I feel like that's the reason why Ant-Man is a tomato. And it isn't rotten. Captain America Civil War, it's one of the best MCU movies made. A lot of people actually think it's not very good. And I'm here to tell you, you're dead wrong, bitch. Please find taste. I'm joking, you cannot like it. But I really like it because it gives so much weight to everything that's happened before in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and I think how it characterizes Tony as just being a fucking ass. And I love that it does that. But it doesn't just make him a douche. It makes Steve also kind of on the wrong side a little bit because his values are so goddamn strict and unmoving. And so it all just collides into this one big fight in the airport. It's not the most visually interesting fight, but I really enjoyed it. I think Captain America Civil War is probably in the top 5 best MCU movies. That's a very fresh bitch. Doctor Strange is too funny. Stephen Strange should have been just friggin' broken. He becomes good at magic a little bit, and then he just becomes okay. Like, he's good now. They try to make the main character a little bit more relatable by making him sassy, by making him a bit of an ass, but it doesn't work for Doctor Strange, and I think one of his best characterizations are when he's not in the spotlight. Like in Infinity War, in Ragnarok. He's the straight man, and he plays off the funny people. when there is no funny person in the movie, he has to be the funny person. Because God forbid the main character of a Marvel movie isn't funny. And also, the villain sucked ass. What is his name? Cock? His name is Caecilius. And it's played by Mads Mikkelsen. The most wasted actor in the entire MCU, probably. Mediocre. Everything else, brilliant. The visuals, brilliant. The story, it's entertaining. Anyways, it's a tomato. Next movie, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. It's great. Is it better than the first one? Maybe. That's one of the most debatable things of all time because the comedy doesn't land as hard as the first one, but I think the plot is better. Actually, which one do you think is better? The first one or the second one? Let me know in the comments below. I think Spider-Man Homecoming is one of the freshest MCU movies. I think it's fantastic. I just made a video on Spider-Man Homecoming. If you want to hear my thoughts, just watch that video. I think it's fresh as fuck, and I adore the movie. So Thor Ragnarok, I used to think it was fresh. Then I rewatched it. I thought it was really good, but it's too funny. I hate saying that because it's obviously a comedy, but I think it's too much of a comedy for its own good. And I think there are moments where they should have not used jokes and just kept it going dramatically. There's one scene that is one of my favorite scenes in the movie, and that's the scene where Thor talks about how much Loki means to him. And I think that's one of the best moments in any Thor movie, and you see that scene in Loki, too, the show. It stands the test of MCU time because of how good it is. I would think it's fresh, but it's not. It's a tomato for me, and I think Taika Waititi is a great director, but it's a little too funny. And to be honest, that's why I'm a little worried about Love and Thunder, because he said it was going to be funnier. I don't think Black Panther is that good. Doesn't mean it's bad. Just doesn't mean it's fresh. I think what it has to say is fantastic, though. I think it's a very historic movie, most definitely. But I don't think it's actually strong enough to be considered fresh. And I think they really ruined it with the final act, where everything becomes a CG mess. Killmonger becomes just another villain, up until he gives a speech when he dies. I think Chadwick Boseman did an amazing job as Black Panther. But I don't think it's good enough for a fresh rating. But it's a very, very high tomato. And then we get to Avengers Infinity War. That bitch is fresh as fuck. Infinity War did everything it had to perfection. It is easily one of the best MCU movies. It's probably my favorite one. And it's the perfect culmination of everything that's come before it. It's basically the visual representation of what the MCU has meant this entire time. I love Infinity War. It's a fresh bitch. Ladies and gentlemen, and then Ant-Man and the Wasp happens. It's the worst Marvel Cinematic Universe movie ever made. Ant-Man and the Wasp is boring. It has nothing to say. The grading it's non-existent, bro. It's non-existent. The entire movie, the only good moment is when Paul Rudd becomes little. This isn't rotten. Nick, make a new category. This category is called Ant-Man and the Wasp, and it's below rotten. It's passable. It exists. When you have millions of dollars and you make a movie that just exists, you're doing something wrong. Anyways, Captain Marvel right after. Captain Marvel is a rotten movie. It doesn't have enough to say. What it has to say isn't executed well enough. Brie Larson is a fantastic actress. Her strengths are non-existent in this movie. I don't know. I think the directors are like, so Brie, yeah, can you act like cardboard this entire movie? Sure. Good. It's rotten. I'm so sorry. And then Avengers Endgame comes out and it's a tomato. It's a little too long. It does a lot of things, but a lot of things it doesn't do it interestingly enough. I think the time travel stuff is a little boring. And I think the movie really becomes good by the third act. The movie's so close to fresh, but it's not. And I saw Avengers Endgame in theaters and I thought it was brilliant. I bought it on Blu-ray. I watched it. And I was like, this is not as good as I remember. It's a very hype-based movie. The one time you see it will always be the best time. The movie's fine. It's a good time. The last, 30 minutes are peak. Everything before that is just, it's good. Oh my god. It's another hot take, ladies and gentlemen. You know what I think about this movie? Spider-Man Far From Home. The last Phase 3 movie. It's rotten. And I think the only good thing about the movie is Mysterio and his interactions with Spider-Man. Peter and MJ have decent chemistry. And yeah, I don't think it's very good, but I have high hopes for No Way Home. Phase 4, Black Widow. Here we go. I think it's a tomato. And I know that's probably not what you're expecting. I think Black Widow even though it devolves into this gigantic CG fest at the end. I think it has enough to say. The family squabble scene is great. The first 30 minutes of this movie are some of the best paced stuff in any Marvel movie. It's fantastic. Taskmaster's introduction scene is intimidating as hell. It's fantastic. I keep saying fantastic. Does it have problems? It has so many problems. But I do think it's a tomato. Then we get to finally Shang-Chi. Shang-Chi. I'm so sorry. I'm Asian. How did I mess that up? Shang-Chi. That movie is so good. And here's the thing. Oh wait, he just said he's Asian. He's biased. Yeah, I'm biased. But that doesn't mean I'm gonna give this movie a fresh rating if it doesn't deserve it. The final fight, the entirety of it, is super freaking personal. Oh, cinema, baby! I'm exaggerating, but I do think it's one of the best Marvel Cinematic Universe movies made. Is it as good as Iron Man? I think it is. I know that's a very, very hot take, but to me it is. And then we get to Eternals. I don't think it's rotten. I don't think it's fresh, but I think it's a very, very solid tomato. I've literally seen people go, there's no action. I'm a kind of guy that can watch a movie and not expect action. I care more about the characters and what they mean to each other than action. You know, some of the characterization isn't the most stellar. To be completely honest, I had a good time. And one of the main reasons why is because the direction was so fantastic. It felt a little more personal. The sex scene was not very good. I'm so glad the MCU has sex in it again. I'm glad sex is now canon. I think one of the best things about this movie is that it feels so practical. It feels like I can actually touch all the locations. And I think Chloe Zhao did a great job. But yeah, that is my ranking. I think every movie should be fresh, and they're not. To me, they're not. I think they should try a little harder to make every movie a little more special. And I think they should make their movies a little more personal as well. I think they shouldn't be afraid to have a movie with barely any jokes in it. Nick, put up the list. I don't know if you already put it up. Put it up again. That's my list, baby. That's my list. Hopefully you like it. If you disagree, let me know your list in the comments below. And yeah, before you go, make sure to check out Interstellar Ranger Commence. It's an animated series I'm making, link in the description. I hope you have a great friggin' day. Let's cut to the outro. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much, Nick, for editing this. Check out Nick's channel, Jake Marley. Yeah, I know. I don't know what his real name is either. Again, check out Interstellar Ranger Commence, link in the description. And make sure to cop that Browntable merch. New merch is incoming on the Crowdmade store. So stay tuned for that, link in the description as well. Thanks so much, patrons. Y'all are the best. Thanks so much for supporting me in making this video. It helps a ton. Y'all are super, super thick. Make sure to subscribe and turn on all notifications to watch my next video. You know you want to. And thanks so much for coming to the table. I'll see you all next time.